One member voted to increase the MPR by 150 basis points. 6 members by 100 basis points. 1 member by 75 basis points, and 3 members by 50 basis points. Consequently, committee resolved to increase the MPR by 100 basis points from 13% to 14%. And in summary, MPC voted as follows. 1. Increase MPR from 14% from 13. 2. Retain the asymmetric corridor at plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the MPR. 3. Retain the CRR at 27.5%. And 4. Retain liquidity ratio at 30%.
Today's interest rate hike by the Central Bank of Nigeria was well anticipated as the country's inflation jumps to a record high in June, led by food and core indexes, and output growth remains soft. For the 11-member Monetary Policy Committee members that met Monday and Tuesday this week, the background to their considerations and decisions were not significantly different from 2 months ago, when the policy rate was also raised by 150 basis points.
There is a need, not just because we want to look at what other economies are doing, but also the fear that whereas we are seeing some output growth as a result substantially of what we are doing in development finance, but that we need to really rein in inflation. We need to do a lot more work on inflation. And that is the reason, like I read at the communique, whether to tighten or to loosen on hold, MPC did not even take any look at the issue of whether to hold rates constant or to loosen, because we know some people would have expected that having tightened last time by 150 basis points, some of the analysis we've watched or read is that, look, we should not continue to increase rates because it will increase cost of borrowing. Cost of borrowing by borrowers. It may also weaken manufacturing output and the rest of them. We agree with that postulation. But the important thing is that as long as we see inflation at a level that can retard growth, it must be dealt with, while at the same time we're looking at how do we use development finance tools to continue to push towards improved output growth.
The financial regulator believed that Nigeria is likely to face subdued growth this year on the back of uncertainties around global supply chains, corporate and public debt in development economies, the Ukraine war, and aggressive normalization in the advanced countries. Here at home, the CBN chief, Godwin Emefiele, says it will continue to use development finance tools and other measures to engineer steady output growth.
It is to the credit of the Buhari administration that we have, through these interventions, helped to impact positively on the lives of Nigerians. Yes, we have. During COVID-19, beginning around the period of the pandemic, we unveiled a couple of products. Is it the targeted credit facility, where people who are impacted, who could not work, who could not earn a living, got some little money, 500,000 naira, to set up their small businesses? Is it the AXMIS, where you want to set up a hairdressing salon, or a sewing business, or a barber shop, or a block making factory? You are able to access finance and you don't have to know anybody in CBN to access this facility. We have done a couple in agriculture, we have done in healthcare, all to see to how we can be less reliant on imported items. We have tried as much as well to provide intervention to people who are producing goods that should be produced in Nigeria than importing them. We have succeeded today in stopping the importation of rice. When I became CBN governor, we were importing maize into Nigeria. We were importing all forms of cassava into Nigeria, cassava starch into Nigeria. We've started a program of reducing the import of wheat into Nigeria because we are aggressively also now ramping up on the production of wheat locally.
Looking forward, Nigeria's central bank is joining its counterparts around the world in their fight against rising inflation. And the major weapon is more interest rate hike into an unknown future.
The Monetary Policy Committee is very determined that if inflation continues at this rate, particularly aggressively, we would continue to tighten, because that is the only thing that I can say at this time. So whereas we're doing everything possible from CBN to look at the various other measures that can be used to moderate inflation, improving farming, hoping that farming outputs will be better, hoping that with that, when the harvest eventually sets, maybe sometime from around August or September, let's even say September, October, we may begin to see a moderation in food prices that will help to see to a moderation in inflation. If we do not do so, I cannot promise, MPC cannot promise anybody that we will not continue to increase rates.
It's benchmark interest rate.
Boason, Omofaye, Arise News.